Okay. Why do you deserve to be born in a country that has a high quality of life over somebody who else was born in a low quality of life and they got unlucky? It's not fair. I understand 100%. It is unfair. There's a lot of unfairness in the world that you probably have to deal with on a daily basis, and I get that. I get that. But the things that you do after you were dealt an unfair hand.
Wait. No. If you recognize that it's unfair, then you're just advocating for unfairness to continue. Here's the problem. Okay? Here's the issue. If these guys, like, I'll just put it clearly to you, okay? If everything that Republicans said about undocumented migrants were true, then I would of course be on board with physical apprehension of these people and with forcible detention of these people and possibly even deportation of these people, depending on what's going on, okay? Depending on the severity, but maybe not deportation, most likely criminal punishments, because I think deportation in that situation would be an easy way out, okay? Yes, these people, as in undocumented migrants, if everything that Republicans said about undocumented migrants was true, that virtually all undocumented migrants that are coming into U.S. soil, okay, 20 million of them are coming here as a hive-minded operation to go out and do murders on the streets, to do rapes all the fucking time. 20 million of them, right? We're doing that. Yeah, of course, that would be a fucking invasion. But that is not the reality, and that is what is frustrating about this conversation. Okay? Aside from the abject cruelty, the starting point of that cruelty, the justifications for that cruelty stem from complete made-up nonsense. There is no empirical basis for this. There's no evidence for this whatsoever. It literally defies logical thinking. The notion that 20 million people coming from every different part of the planet to the United States of America can be blanketed under one hive mind is insane. Because at that point, you're not even saying like all Mexicans are this way. You're saying all undocumented migrants are this way, which is even more insane than saying all Mexicans are a certain way or all Venezuelans are a certain way. That in and of itself is already xenophobic and racist and bigoted to begin with. But it's additionally insane to claim that people coming from all different walks of life, different levels of educational attainment, from countries all around the globe, all operate with this anti-American hatred and also interest in all violence. Okay? Interest in just doing unlimited violence to the American-born citizens is a psychotic way to operate. It is hysterical. It is schizophrenic. Okay? Do you understand? The reason why I maintain this position is because if these people that have come into this country, okay, are not doing violence, okay, if these people that have come into this country are actually putting in more to the system than they take out, if they are working honest jobs, engaging in backbreaking labor without any sort of legal recourse given to them that is readily available, under the constant fear of deportation, then deporting them is insane. Like, it's extra insane. If they were actually doing unimaginable violence, then it makes sense, but they're not. I'm not in the business of saying like, nah, you don't understand, like all we have to let rapists roam free. That's not what I'm saying at all. That would be psychotic. That'd be complete societal collapse. As a matter of fact, I think we're not doing enough detention and apprehension and proper prosecutions of sex criminals in general. Too many sex criminals go free. If you look at clearance rates on sex crimes, it is an insane abdication of duty from the criminal justice system. Clearance rates for murders is like 57%. Clearance rates, as in like a sex crime happens or a crime happens and then it's prosecuted and then they actually charge and convict someone for that crime, is like 20%, less than 20%. That's insane. What the fuck are we doing? Like, think about that. Yeah, if you commit a sex crime, you can still be a politician. Oh, of course. Or the fucking Secretary of Defense, by the way. This is an argument for no audience. Do you think Americans hate immigrants because they're doing crime, or do you think they hate them because they're constructed race? The crime narrative is a permission. You need to realize people don't actually believe in those lies about migrants. What they believe is that if we repeat it, it gives us permission to enact policies of racial purity. People are not that stupid, but they are that racist. No, dude. XQC is not... Dude, XQC is many things, but he is not operating on the basis of pure white nationalist ideology. You are insane, dude. What? No. I think a lot of people... he's crypto fashion. I'm about to make a very interesting argument here, and it's not just about XQC, but in general. I think a lot of you maybe don't go out in the real world and talk to normal people in normal settings, and might be a little too online, okay? Because you think that the motivations of the average American, like, Republican voter is a commitment to race purity and not simply falling victim to social conditioning and never really critically examining the impact of said policies. I guess to make it easier for people to understand, my point is a lot of people are very stupid. They can be brilliant in other ways, but when it comes to politics, our system is designed to keep people very dumb about politics. Okay? Very dumb about the political machinations of the American government and how politics works. So a lot of individuals, even people who want to be more well-read about a particular issue, often simply read something and then reiterate it without exercising said critical thinking. Okay? And for you, that might come across as someone who is serving this, like, insidious, indecent, nefarious purpose of promoting fascist ideology and racial purity in this secretive fashion, when no, I think they're just repeating something that they heard from someone else and didn't put much thought into it, and it made them feel smarter. Now, I will admit, I have not been around XQC or have talked to him in quite some time. I would say almost a couple years at this point, like 2 years almost. Like I saw him at TwitchCon briefly. Okay? But I don't think that in that process he became secretly a crypto fascist. That's insane. No, I didn't even see him at the Streamer Awards. But does making that distinction, especially right now, matter? If you support Nazis because you are dumb, you are still a Nazi? Yes, it does matter. And the reason why it matters, maybe not for XQC, because I just don't even entertain that. I think that's ridiculous. But the reason why I think it matters is because if you think everyone is, like, secretly operating, and this is something I mention all the time, if you think everyone is, like, secretly operating on like racial purity dynamics, then you can't really change their attitude. You can't really change their worldview. You can't have a conversation with them. You know? Like, that's it. It's that simple. They're as close to someone being intrinsically evil as possible, right? Like, that is the closest you can get to being, like, intrinsically evil. someone who is almost impossible to rehabilitate, someone who is almost impossible to change their worldview. Okay? And I still maintain the belief that many Americans simply are deluded into thinking, for one reason or another, that either A, the Trump administration is only going to deport the quote unquote bad migrants, okay? Or B, that they're not even going to do that at all. Or C, that even if they are to do that, it's not going to be impactful or cruel. And this isn't just about immigration either. It's very hard for us in this community to understand exactly what I'm saying because you recognize it, because I have talked about the cruelty of this process and the silliness of this process and the ridiculous underlying premises and how untrue they are for years. So of course you're well equipped. So for you, knowing all of this, you go, how can anyone be on board with this? They must be fucking horrible people. Okay? But make no mistake, this is the same for every single political piece of legislation. This is the same for every single political ideology and every single political action. Okay? You're doing the same thing that the Dems do right now, lol? Yeah, totally. I am. Definitely. It does not matter. It's not just about undocumented migrants. Abortion is an even better example of this. Many people will subscribe to a political ideology, many Republicans especially, because they operate on the basis of selfishness, okay? Operate on hyper-individualism and self-interest, like maximalist self-interest positions that they think, yeah, this person is making a convincing argument that like abortion is immoral. I think I'm on board with it. I think it's like kind of fucked up and that we should put limitations on abortion and what women can and can't do to their bodies. After all, I'm not a woman, so I don't really care until it actually is implemented. And then they go, oh my God, this was not a great idea. Perhaps this was a bad idea. This is the basis for virtually all legislation. Okay? Republicans will go, oh, I want this thing. And then when it happens, they go, oh my God, this actually ruined my fucking life. Here, I'll give you a more recent example. Tariffs. Republicans would be like, yeah, Donald Trump says tariffs are good, so I believe tariffs are good. Okay? And then tariffs will get implemented, and all of a sudden, the price of goods go up unimaginably. They're going to be like, what the fuck just happened? Some Republicans who are cultish, okay, who are cultists, are going to say, oh no, it's good that the tariffs are happening because like it serves a higher purpose. I don't even mind the prices of eggs going up now, even though I lost my fucking mind when it was going up under the Biden administration, right? For sure. But there will be plenty of people who go, okay, maybe this was not the best idea. I'm still a Republican. I still love the Republican Party, but like I don't really like this this situation. And it's important to understand that as a formative part of the human condition, if you are to successfully change people's attitudes. Okay? That's why that distinction is still somewhat important. And this is not a defense of anyone. It's certainly not XQC. Nor is it a defense of Asmongold. I think I want to see if I can go on a mass deportation trip with Tom Homan as Ash Ketchum is truly a horrifying thing to say. Like, it's just, what are we doing? It's like, oh yeah, into the 1930s, I would have loved to do propaganda for the Gestapo. Ridiculous. Anyway, let's go back to this. I want to see what this is.
is up to you. And if you decide that for you, you have to commit a crime to go forward, sure, but that comes with certain consequences and certain risks. And one of those, maybe if you immigrate illegally, as that, guys, the world is against me, I must do this, well, there's a chance you're going to get deported and there's a chance you're going to face the consequences.
Yeah, again, you can't have a sucks to suck attitude about this sort of thing, okay? Because if the initial law is unfair and unnecessarily restrictive, and dare I say, leads to a lot of inhumane conditions, then we should be tackling that initial law rather than saying, no, the law is the law. We just got to keep maintaining it. Okay? Also, I don't know why you guys keep sending me like XQC, Asmongold, or any number of different fucking Twitch streamers and their opinions on these issues. I truly don't understand it. Where's XQC from again? Level. He is Canadian. Build the fucking wall, dude. No more Canadians in this goddamn country.
And when that happens, you can't be fucking up in arms. Being this is unfair. You were dealt an unfair hand, and I get that. You made a bad choice, and now you get clapped. It's kind of part of the game.
Hopefully,
a lot of people in life are dealt a very unfair hand, and they play it differently, and they make it out. I mean, I don't know, like. Brother, how is the shit like this? They get punished for trying to make their lives better and improve. Yes, brother. If some guy is broke as shit in an impoverished area and spawned bad, his parents are on fucking crack, and they go to the local bank and they go to fucking rob the damn thing, okay? And they say, guys, I did it because I wanted my family to live better and be able to afford food. Yeah, if you gotten away with it.
Okay. This is a ridiculous comparison, okay? Although I do maintain the position that bank robberies are a victimless crime if done correctly, okay? This is not an adequate comparison, okay? Like, there is no legal I guess there are legal alternatives to bank robberies, but I do advocate to prosecute the legal robbery that many corporations engage in on a regular basis. But, like, it's wild to me that the comparison you're making is, like, something that is otherwise legally allowed, okay? The reason why bank robberies are illegal is because there is societal harm there. The reason why the process of migration exists is because it is a societal benefit, okay? The only reason why undocumented migrants come in undocumented is not because they want to do crimes. It's because the documentation process is purposely built to be restrictive so that there are undocumented migrants that come into the country, because companies abuse and use these undocumented migrants. The system is broken, but it is broken by design, okay? There is no legal version of bank robbery. Instead of bank robbery, you should have said, like, murder or something. You know what I mean? Crossing over an imaginary boundary that we have set, okay? And there are legal alternatives to do so in order to get gainful employment is not the same as robbing a bank with a weapon. That's crazy. My point is that there should be no restrictions on this process at all. And a lot of people hear me say that and go, oh, so you just want, like, open borders in its entirety and anyone and everyone can come in. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that easing up the process of migration in general would lead to less undocumented immigration in general. Okay? Proper processing is good for national security. Proper processing and opening up pathways to immigration into this country would literally improve wages as well. Okay? Sam Cedar keeps saying that being undocumented isn't a crime, but a civil violation akin to a driving violation. It's true. It is true. That is literally true. And for the longest points, for the majority of American history, it wasn't even a crime at all. But once it became a crime, it was a civil violation. That is correct, because laws change, okay? The reason why Sam Cedar says that, Uncle Goat, is because he's correct. It is a civil offense. My advocacy revolves around changing these rules. You're missing the argument here. XQC doesn't give a fuck, is illegal. He called for asylum seekers to be treated the same as undocumented and does not want easier for processing legal attempts. Does not want it easier for processing legal attempts? Yeah, that's insane. I don't know what the... I don't know.
Sure, but you play the fucking dumbass game. You play the dumbass price. Wait, how's that not the same? I'm confused. You cannot be justifying it.
Okay, I'm going to try to explain this as simply as possible. Okay? I think we all understand that not all crimes are the same, right? When you are looking at a crime, you have to look at the harm, overall societal impact, overall harm to the welfare of every citizen, whether it be one singular individual, a family, or the entirety of the country. Okay? That is what's important here. Okay? Undocumented migration does not have any negative consequences whatsoever and only has benefits. Migration in general has no real material harm. Okay, undocumented or documented, doesn't matter. No real material harm and only positives. Okay? No way you're being real right now. I am being so real right now. This video shows proof on how dumb some of our far left groups really are. I don't know if you fully watched. I have not watched this video. It's true. You can say I'm wrong, but it does not matter. If you look to an undocumented migrant that has committed a heinous crime and assume that all undocumented migrants are this way, that is definitionally a bigoted way to approach society. Okay? I do not operate like this. I don't look at an Israeli person and say all Israelis, okay? All Israelis across the board unconditionally are fully invested in the maintenance of the apartheid. Some of you do. You say, yes, you do. That's a great example. That's a great example of people who literally are fucking too stupid to understand the arguments I make all the time. Okay? Yeah, I think all Israelis are evil and are invested in the maintenance of the apartheid. That's why I have Israelis on my broadcast numerous times, whether they be conscientious objectors of the IDF or whether it be Knesset members. Fucking idiots. Stop watching clips from people who don't know their ass from their goddamn elbow and literally don't know basic politics, who then clip shit out of context because they saw Reddit threads and then try to make like convoluted YouTube videos in the vein of drama slop. It is so stupid. I hate that like a big chunk of what I do here has to be addressing some of the dumbest people who don't know anything about politics, basically making fucking call out videos in the vein of a drama slop video when the person who's like writing those videos have no understanding of politics whatsoever.
But you're justifying a crime. Why do we do this?
Yeah, you're justifying your crime. Exactly. This is, this is unintellectual thinking to be like, oh, well, it's a crime. Sucks to suck is a crime. A crime is a crime. Yeah. Throughout history, there have been numerous instances, very famous, very public instances where, certain things were considered crimes And now we understand that maybe that wasn't the best idea, okay? Slavery comes to mind. In Nazi Germany, obviously, protecting Jews was, hiding Jews was considered a crime, okay? Being Jewish was considered a crime as well. Ridiculous. Miscegenation was a crime. Being gay was a crime. And what happened?
Don't justify crimes. I think it's fucking stupid. I don't like it.
I try to watch your streams and learn about politics, but a lot of the time I have a hard time following. It's impossible to read your chat. I'm sorry, dear. I'm trying to do better on that. So you want open borders at this point? No, dude. Or I don't know what you mean when you say open borders. Okay. I want, in the short term, I want blanket amnesty for all civil offenders of immigration crimes in this country. It's a civil offense. If you've been living in this country, you can start off by looking at people who have been here for 5 years plus. Okay? I want all of those people to be processed expeditiously, get the proper documentation, and become a part of the documented labor force. Okay? This has happened before in the past. And it can happen again. It's also not only the right thing to do, but it's also the popular thing to do. In that process, you can also look at people who have actually done crimes, right? Who have actually done heinous crimes or violent crimes and maybe avoided the authorities. Okay? Put them in prison. It's that simple. And then I want the current flow of migration into the country to only be combated at the point of foreign policy. Because most people would not leave their homes behind to come to the United States of America if they had the opportunity to get meaningful wages and feed their families in their home nations. Okay? Having said that, however, our system of migration must be eased. This is the only way to combat the cartels, to undermine one of the major ways that cartels make money. Okay? The American government talks a big game about the cartels and how we have to violently apprehend them and we have to violently combat them by bombing Mexico or whatever. But we actually don't do anything in our policy that harms them at all. Cartels only get to exist and do these border trafficking operations specifically because undocumented migration still exists in this country. Undocumented migration, just like every other aspect of piracy or black market affairs, is, in the words of Gaben, okay, a service problem, a servicing issue. If people had the opportunity to come into this country and earn a meaningful wage, okay, and send some of that money back home as well, through the legal channels, they would take the legal channels. The problem is the legal channels are impossible. They don't exist for the most part for many people. And we just don't even think about that. We don't even consider that to be ridiculous. We just go, there must be a good reason for why there's so much restriction. Okay? And in terms of the wages and the workplace conditions for these formerly undocumented, now documented laborers, the solutions come in the form of legislation again. Okay, it's the same principle behind H-1B visas. We talk a lot about H-1B visas being exploitative. I've covered this a lot. That is a process of legal migration that actually seeks to displace the American labor force. There are examples of H-1B visa recipients that are actually maintaining a position that companies simply have not been able to fulfill with the American labor force. That is true, right? But overall, H-1B visas create a structure where H-1B visas create a structure where if you lose your job, if you don't retain your job, you live under the fear of deportation in 60 days. Okay? That creates an unfair pressure point upon the H-1B visa recipient that is fearful of deportation and therefore will work longer hours if their bosses ask them, never demand back pay, maybe stay silent when they're being sexually abused or sexually harassed in the workplace. These are all ways in which the corporate structure benefits with the current H-1B visa structure that exists. If those guys had more freedom of movement, freedom to change their jobs, they would have more of an opportunity to work the same hours that the non-H-1B visa recipient documented labor force works. You would eliminate a vector of pressure that creates more exploitation that actually ends up being used as a way to displace the American labor force. Okay? Yeah, I made a little under 270K last year in total comp. My coworker who's on the same title and he's got more experience than me on an H-1B, his total comp was only around 160,000. Now, the average person looks at that and goes, 160,000 is a lot of fucking money. This guy came into the country making 160 grand. He should be happy to do this. But it's like, you don't understand. From the company's standpoint, that person is at least a $270,000 employee and the company made $110,000 in pure profit off of making sure that guy, that job could have been fulfilled by an American laborer who would have also made somewhere similar to $270,000. Now they got it for almost half the price, and they can actually work that person harder. Because that person, if they lose their job,